Today we have another top 5 list, and this time we have a special treat. We will be talking about the legendary age of the samurai in feudal Japan, especially the famous military leaders who left their honorable marks on Japan's illustrious history. The criteria we have come up with for making this list is, first, we will talk about the policies they implemented and how they would shape all of Japan. Next, of course, we will talk about their military accomplishments, because the glory of battle was the greatest part of a samurai's life. Lastly, we will talk about their lasting legacy. How big of an impact did they have on shaping Japan, all the way up to modern times? So sharpen your spears and clean your katanas as we drop like cherry blossoms in springtime into one of the most interesting periods of history. Starting off our top 5 list, we have Tokugawa Ieyasu, born January 31st, 1543. His early life was marked by early strife as being a member of a minor noble clan called the Matsudaira. He was taken hostage at the age of 6 by the Imagawa clan. These early events molded him into the man he would become, instilling patience and a sense of caution in terms of planning his political and military moves. When he reached the prestigious title of Shogun, his government policies included restructuring the government to balance more of the powers between the Shogun and the daimyos. He implemented policies that maintained strict social classes from samurai, farmers, artisans, and merchants. He severely limited foreign trade and interaction. Also, he expelled many Christian missionaries and banning the practice of Christianity to hinder its influence over Japan. He was a brilliant military leader who fought in various conflicts, from the Tomomi campaigns to helping his great friend and ally Oda Nobunaga during the campaign against the Asakura Azai clan, and fought against his old friends, the Takeda clan. His most famous military accomplishments were the victories in the Tensho Jingo War in 1582, where he made peace with the legendary Hojo clan and expanded into the Kai and Shinano provinces. Those sidelined because Toyotomi Hideyoshi effectively was the most powerful man in Japan. After Hideyoshi's death in 1598, he regained much of his power and won the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600, where he defeated Ishida Mitsunari to gain control over all of Japan. Finally, he would crush the last of his major opposition to his rule from Toyotomi loyalists during the siege of Osaka in 1615. His reign would start the Edo period, effectively unifying all of Japan for the first time ever under the Tokugawa shogunate for more than 250 years, bringing peace, stability, and prosperity to Japan. He is known as the third of the 3 great unifiers of Japan. His isolationist policies influenced Japan's foreign policy for years, and even after the fall of the Tokugawa shogunate, shaping and preserving much of the culture we can even see in Japan to this very day. Next up on our list, at the number 4 spot, we have Toyotomi Hideyoshi, born possibly March 27th, 1537. Not much is known about his early life, but what we do know is that he was of a peasant background, and his father, Kinoshita Yemen, was a foot soldier who died when Hideyoshi was around 7 years old. He gained prominence when he became a foot soldier for the renowned Oda Nobunaga, becoming his sandal bearer. Now, I know sandal bearer doesn't sound like a great title, but it was actually a very prestigious honor in feudal Japan. His political policies include disarming non-samurai, especially during small moments of peace, to reduce peasant uprisings. He instituted surveys on boundaries and ownership of property to assess better ways of taxation, standardized and centralized land ownership, reducing the power of independent lords, banned Christian missionaries, fearing them as a threat to the stability and social order of Japan, prohibited daimyo from constructing new castles, further limiting their power bases. Considered the best, if not one of the best, military strategists in the history of Japan, especially for his ability to trick his opponents. He mainly fought under the command of Oda Nobunaga, but after Nobunaga's death, he would lead his forces to help finish the unification of Japan from 1582 to 1592. His major military accomplishments start with the siege of Kagoshima in 1587. He defeated the Shimatsu clan, taking the island province of Kyushu. He defeated the godlike Hojo clan during the siege of Odawara in 1590. He then stopped the Kunohi rebellion in 1591, and after crushing the rebellion, no other Japanese warlords dared to stand up to him, effectively giving him control over most of Japan. He then set his sights on conquering Korea during the Imjin War, which was a series of 2 Japanese invasions that were both initially successful, but both failed in the long run after too many Korean and Chinese reinforcements overwhelmed the Japanese forces. He would die in 1598, never taking the title of Shogun, and never seeing the complete unification of Japan. Although his last years felt disappointing, it is undeniable that without his major military success, Japan would never come as close to unification as it did because of Hideyoshi. He was known as the second of the 3 great unifiers of Japan. His legacy shows that even a man of low birth can rise to the top and become one of the greatest leaders, not just in Japan, but in the entire world. Breaking into our top 3, we have the illustrious Ashikaga Takeuchi at our number 3. Born August 18, 1305, to the famous Ashikaga clan. His childhood was marked with rigorous military training and was groomed for leadership while in service to the Hojo clan. His political policies include moving the capital of the government to Kyoto to be closer to the imperial court. He set up various new court systems that rivaled the traditional court systems in Japan at the time. He delegated more power to the daimyos, gaining more loyalty from them, but also causing problems to the central government later on during the Ashikaga shogunate. He confiscated lands from his enemies and redistributed them to his loyal samurai, creating even more loyal support within his samurai allies, but also fueling more rage from his enemies. Greatly famed for his military accomplishments, he helped overthrow the Kamakura shogunate during the Kenmu Restoration in 1333. Restoring the Emperor Go-Daigo to power. However, Emperor Go-Daigo would turn on the samurai, trying to strip them of power. So Takeuchi had no choice but to declare himself shogun and rebel against the emperor. The rebellion, which lasted from 1335 to 1336, saw Takeuchi successful in the Battle of Minetagawa in 1336, cementing his control as shogun. He would be involved with the Nambokucho Wars, which was a conflict between the northern and southern court systems. But this conflict outlived Takeuchi, as he died in 1358. But his faction's court system would prevail after 50 years of conflict in 1392. Ashikaga Takauji's legacy left a major impact on Japan, installing the Ashikaga shogunate to power for almost 250 years, under which saw a boom in the development of Japanese culture with the No theater, Zen Buddhism, and ink painting flourishing in Japan, though it would also be the catalyst to the biggest and longest conflict in Japanese history, known as the Sengoku period. At the runner-up spot, we have Minamoto Yoritomo, born May 9th, 1147, to the famous general Minamoto Yoshitomo, and descending from the divine imperial family. His early life was not easy, as his family was exiled after siding with the losing faction during the Heiji Rebellion. His political policies and strategies involved a shift in power from the imperial throne to the military leaders of Japan. He appointed many military governors and land stewards across many provinces to collect taxes, enforce laws, and maintain order. He instilled the power of the samurai for about 7 centuries, laying the foundations of the power and organization of the samurai class by creating land grants and installing a warrior code that instilled discipline in the samurai. An immaculate military leader, his famed military accomplishments were defeating the Taira clan and his cousin Minamoto Yoshinaka during the Genpei War, which lasted from 1180 to 1185. He would then go on to suppress his rivals, including his half-brother, Minamoto Yoshitsune, to solidify his power as shogun. Though with other early parts of Japanese history showing military governments holding a good amount of power, Yoritomo's installment as shogun and the founding of the Kamakura shogunate under his rule marked the first time in Japanese history where the military held primary power over the imperial court of Japan. This helped lay the foundation for how Japan would be governed for the next 700 years, laying the model for even the Ashikaga and Tokugawa shogunates, which is perhaps the most lasting legacy one person has ever had on Japanese history. Before we unveil the number 1 spot, we have some honorable mentions for you. We have finally reached the prestigious number 1 spot, and taking it is the great Oda Nobunaga. Born June 23rd, 1534, he was the heir of Oda Nobuhide, who was the head of the very mighty Oda clan. At a very young age, to his early adulthood, Nobunaga was skilled in a variety of hobbies, from horse riding, sumo wrestling, swimming, hunting, and archery, giving him a wide range of skills. His policies included conducting land surveys to establish more clear taxation, promoted the efficiency and productivity of agriculture, encouraged free markets by abolishing road tolls and promoting open trade within his territory. He hunted down certain militant Buddhists, diminishing their power. He was very tolerant of Christianity, allowing them to spread their religion in Japan and open trade with the Europeans. Appointed people who were loyal to him to various positions within his court, rather than by birth or region. His vast repertoire of military accomplishments is very impressive. The Battle of Okiyazama in 1560 saw him take on the Imagawa clan, defeating them and cementing his rise to power as a major military power in Japan. The conquest of Kyoto in 1568, where he installed Ashikaga Yoshiaki as his puppet shogun, giving him control over the capital and central Japan. Then he launched the Unification of Japan campaign that lasted from 1568 to 1582. Though losing to the Ikoiki, the militant Buddhists during the siege of Nagashima from 1571 to 1574, he bounced back during the Battle of Nagashino after beating the Takeda clan in 1575. By the early 1680s, he destroyed most of the Takeda forces, putting himself into position as the most powerful military leader in Japan, and almost nearly unified all of Japan. He probably would have completed the unification of Japan all by himself if it wasn't for the fact that he was betrayed by a vassal and general named Akechi Mitsuhide, who forced Nobunaga to take his own life. Oda Nobunaga is probably the most famous military leader in the history of Japan. Even though he never reached the title of Shogun, he started the unification of Japan, a feat that was almost completely unheard of by his time. Without him laying the foundations and putting in most of the hard work, Toyotomi Hideyoshi and Tokugawa Ieyasu would have never finished the unification, or at the very least would have been much harder for them to do so. This makes him known as the first of Japan's 3 great unifiers. His legacy will forever be cemented throughout popular culture with movies, TV shows, video games, and books, holding him up on a pedestal as a titan, not just in Japanese history, but in the history of the entire world. Well, my fellow samurai, we have reached the end of this most intriguing video. Did I leave out any one of your favorite Japanese military leaders? If so, don't be afraid to let your voices be heard in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.